So joining me today is SukoNami, or Deck, as some of you might know. He is a good friend of mine and a Twitch streamer, and today I wanted to talk to him about all the different things he's done through streaming and just what it's like in general. Would you like to introduce yourself, Deck?
Well, hello. I'm Deck, otherwise known as SukoNami. I play a variety of different games over on Twitch. Mostly, I have a game collection that's larger than my future, and I try to play as much as I can. The thing is, I have a backlog that's as large as it is. You sort of a lot of my streams are like focused on the first playthrough of a game, and I quite enjoy the idea of sort of playing through a game in the first time. Like, a lot of people, and the thing is, like, there's loads of people out there who, some of the games I'm playing is their their favorite game ever. It's like they want to see someone play it for the very first time, and it's not often that you get the chance to do that. And I think a lot of people have, I think a lot of people at some point wish they could like erase the memory of a game that they've played so they could enjoy it for the first time all over again. And I kind of hope that I'm able to do that for people, people like who want to sort of experience again for the first time. They sort of see me play it. It's like, oh, this person gonna see it for the first time. So yeah, that's the sort of thing I like to do. I try to give control of the stream to chat as much as I can with channel points. Try and like make people, try and let people change my face cam like, into little filters or like make things pop up, all this sort of stuff. So that's sort of my whole shtick.
Well, I've seen your collection on stream a whole bunch of times. It's ginormous, even larger than mine.
We have
I've
a little rivalry though. We have a rivalry of like when the PS5 first came out, you were sending me messages of like pictures of you getting. I can't afford to do this. Like, I think he's got like 7 new PS5 games in a week. It's like what?
but what started you on the path of collecting all these games? Was it just boredom, or were you like, I want to do this?
I think it was a case of like I really liked the idea of video games in general, and I really enjoy playing them. I think it's one of the only pieces of media. I mean, I enjoy movies, I enjoy TV, I enjoy comics, all that sort of stuff. Like I'm a very like big person when it comes to like gaming and stuff, and like all these different pop culture icons, you could say. And I think the case like even from a young age, I was always a big person into gaming. And I think a lot so that's kind of like how a lot of people start off. But it's like I always sort of I didn't have a massive collection growing up, and I know a lot of people to grow. I was in a very fortunate situation where I lived with my grandparents, and like they, if anyone's ever been with their grandparents, they just want to spoil you rotten.
Yeah.
So it was never a case of like I had to sell my games to get new games. It's always a case like I may have not got games as often, but I would never have to sell my old games to get new games. It was always an option I could have had, but I always found a ways to like make some money then go get some games. And I think that it sort of really took off. It really took off when I started streaming, really, because I wanted to play more games and sort of there was all these people sort of coming in and being like, "Oh, have you played this? Have you played that?" I was like, "I haven't played that. I haven't played this." And then you end up sort of amassing a small collection of games that you end up never playing because you're like, "Oh, this game looks cool. It's on my radar. Let me pick it up," and I'll not play it for 6 months or like the next 3 years. So I think that getting me into streaming or getting me into gaming in general was all thanks to like an auntie that had given me an original Game Boy as a kid, and I played a lot of Pokemon Gold, and I played a lot of the Super Mario. I think it was Super Mario World that was on the original Game Boy, the golden game, the not golden Game Boy, but the more like block of cheese orange Game Boy, and it sort of I think it was, yeah. I still have it. It's on the shelf somewhere. Um, but I then sort of took a little bit of a turn. I didn't really play games for that was like I had grown up, and then I was sort of not really playing many games until around the time the DS came out. Like I stopped playing the Game Boy, and then I sort of I was going outside. Is that I was sort of still in that sort of went outside, you play with your friends, you went around to their house and did all these different things.
You touch
Um,
grass?
I touched some grass before it was cool. I touched grass. That's exactly it.
Crazy.
I, I know, and now I don't leave the house, and I just play games all day, and yeah, I touch grass maybe once a week, but
Well, that's more than some people can
that's
say.
more than some people. You're not wrong. It's true. I touch grass for at least 1 hour a day, and that's it. It's like, oh, that's too much effort. No, I Yeah, it definitely took like a bit of a dip, but after that point, because obviously growing up in school and all that sort of stuff, you don't really like everyone goes through phases like, oh, Pokemon's cool or this game's cool, and then suddenly everyone starts playing it like, oh, I guess it's not cool to play this anymore. And then the Xbox 360 came out around that time as well. So I had a 360. I mean, I had PS2, all that sort of stuff as well. Though it's like, um, gaming always sort of like took a back seat a little bit of it, and it sort of didn't. It wasn't as prevalent as it was now, as it is now, I should say. And it definitely is one of those things where I always sort of enjoyed doing it, but I was like, oh, I should, my grandparents was like, oh, you should go outside or you should go hang out with your friends. And then that's where the DS came up. The DS comes into it, where it's a case like I would play, it was Pokemon Diamond at the time. It really sort of took off, and I would take my DS everywhere. I would go to my friend's house with my DS, go shopping with my DS, go to this place, go to school, even went to school with my DS.
I did the
Play it
same a
wherever.
lot.
Yeah, that was exactly it. I had this vivid memory of like walking home for lunch because I didn't live that far away from school, so you can go home for lunch. And I'm walking along the street, and it's like maybe like autumn time, and I get to Snow Point City for the very first time in Pokemon Diamond. I'm like so excited. So like there's things like that. It's like I can't wait to get home to play more of this. But yeah, it's probably like how it first started and how it first got into gaming. It was like my auntie giving me the first Game Boy.
I have a feeling a lot of people start off with the game. Oh well, not nowadays, but like early 2000s, 90s era. That's where a lot of people started, I think.
It was like the first takeoff of it all, though. That those sort of the whole idea of gaming was like such a fresh thing. Start, it's not pushing your face as much as it was, as much as it is nowadays. Where it's like the PS5, the Xbox Series X, the Switch. Is it like adverts constantly? It's a case of like back then it was like a Nintendo. What is a Nintendo? They don't have like the names or whatever
Sega does
they
what
used to.
Nintendo don't. Wasn't that like the whole thing back in the day in between? It was.
They had a feud because it was say Nintendo came around first,
Yeah,
and then Sega were like, let's take it to the next level, and that was like the whole thing, like, next level.
yeah.
Um, and then I think slowly after that point, I think maybe a couple years later, then it became I want to say Xbox came into it and Sony, and then it slowly faded out into the Sony and Xbox being the big competitors, and Nintendo is still like trying to maintain its things. It's being fair, it's got quite the status nowadays, and I don't think it ever stopped really because it
Yeah.
just sort of focused on a different market. But like you said, Sega sort of stopped making consoles and stuff. They couldn't keep up with that sort of stuff. Like when like one when the PS2 came out, they came out with like I think the Dreamcast at that point. So it was just like the technology they were giving out or whatever was nowhere near as advanced as the other stuff that other competitors were giving out. So it was kind of an uphill battle there.
Speaking around your game collection and stuff, what's your favorite game you've played from it so far?
I feel like this question going to come up. Catherine, don't get me wrong. As a man who likes Catherine, I say I like Catherine. I played Catherine for 8 years of my life. I love it. So I spent a lot. I spent 8 years trying to get all the trophies in it, and it's not that hard a game to get them. It's a puzzle game, But like when I first got it, I was like, oh, there's no way I could platinum this game or like get all the trophies in this or the achievements. And then it cuts like April 2022, I think it is, or yeah, I think it's around that time. The Catherine Full Body's been announced. It's coming out in September, and I was like, I need to finish this before I get Full Body because I love this game. I get the last achievement on Catherine on the 360 version, uh, April 1st, the biggest joke of my life, and then 6 months later, Full Body comes out, and I played it for like 3 days. I finished all the new endings. Like, yep, that's me done. I never could replaying Catherine until
Fair.
recently. I started replaying it in my spare time. But it's like when you spent so much time playing a game like that, it's like I know everything about that game. Like I know how to do this, I know how to do that, all that sort of stuff, and you just sort of it's sort of like a head empty game, head empty, just not really focusing on anything. Just you're just playing the game.
Yeah.
I don't know. I don't know, Philly. It's a difficult question. Like there's so many games on the shelf, ranging from PS1 to PS5, original Xbox to Xbox One, SNES to Switch. There's so many different things. There's a lot of games I'm looking forward to playing. I essentially stupid when I say that because it's like you could play it at any time, but when you play games as a streamer, you end up being like, I could stream this, and then you don't play it for like 6 months, and you're like, oh, I want to stream this game, so that's why you buy it, and then
Yeah.
you just don't play it. Resident Evil 2. Resident Evil 2 is a big one. I really enjoy playing Resident Evil 2. The Silent Hill series, Silent Hill 3 is probably my favorite Silent Hill game. Big horror person. I like a lot of horror games. Alien Isolation, Dead
Alien
Space.
Isolation was. I loved
And I think
watching you play through
A-
that one.
Alien Isolation is one of those games where they reinvented the. I mean, you knew what the villain was, like you knew what was going to chase you, but the AI for that is some of the best AI that they've
Yeah.
made in gaming. So it's such a pleasure to actually play because it's never no matter what you do, it learns. It's kind of like the Mr. Freeze boss fight in Arkham City, where you try one thing, it works, and then suddenly he finds a way to sort of prevent that the next time happening. It's always different things. Talk about the Arkham games. Arkham games are also great. I also really like the Arkham games. But if I had to pick a favorite game off the shelf, I'm a sucker for beat 'em ups. So I do have the new TMNT game that was it was released. It's kind of like a remake of Turtles in Time. I really
Shredder's
enjoyed that.
Revenge, isn't it? Right?
Shredder's Revenge, yeah, that's the one. It's kind of like a remake of Turtles in Time, but Shredder's Revenge is the thing. The same with the Scott Pilgrim game. That's also a beat 'em up. The Simpsons game, you can't complain about the Simpsons game being that the original Simpsons beat 'em up game is really good. Just little arcade games, really. If not like Final Fantasy VII, big one. Um, you've got, like I said, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. It's a very broad question because I obviously when you have so many games, it's hard to pick one. And I get asked like, oh, what's your favorite game? It's like it could change, weekly, if not daily, depending on what you're playing. It's like, this game actually that seems pretty good. This is probably my favorite game of this year. And it's like, and you realize it came out in 2008. You're like, it's my favorite game I've played this year, then, not the game that came out this year.
Fair. You do have, from what I understand and what I've seen in the past, each year you just make a spreadsheet where you add the games you complete, right?
Yes, I have my spreadsheet through Google Docs, so it's a lot easier, a lot more accessible for people. And I have it as a command on stream, so like people can see like the different games I've played. So I've got it marked in different in like three different categories. So you've got so they're all color coordinated. So green ones are obviously the ones I finished. Yellow ones are the ones I started but not finished, and then the grayed out ones are the ones that I've got but I have not touched. And surprise enough, over probably half of the, if not 75% of that spreadsheet is grey.
Fair. I
It's like I could start marking the ones that I've played off stream, but then it kind of feels a bit kind of
uh,
cheating. Where it's like, yeah, it's like I want to stream these games on Twitch, so at some point I want to make sure I've got the entire thing green. And like I say, I streamed over 1,000 games on Twitch, at some point, but you never know.
that's a great video name idea.
That is a very you can take that one. You know what? You can have that one. Have that one on me.
That would require me streaming often, which I don't do
Hmm.
well. I like the more editing, scripting side of things than anything.
I think it's well. I spoke to people about this before, where it's like people have their preferences. They prefer YouTube, they prefer TikTok, they prefer Twitch, whatever. And I think it's Twitch gives you the social aspect of like you're playing games, people hop and stream all that sort of stuff. It's kind of like I thought about doing YouTube at one point, and I like the idea of it, but you don't get the same interaction that you're sort of not talking to people as you're playing the game. You're sort of playing the game, then you're sort of editing and uploading it, or
Fair.
you're doing whatever and you're editing and uploading it. And the only sort of interaction you get is through comments, so you don't really get the whole sort of same thing, which is kind of like it's sort of, I think Twitch in a way, or like streaming, live streaming in general, it's kind of spoiled me on games a little bit as well, because whenever I play a game off stream or on my own, I'm kind of like I'm just silent. I'm
This
just like,
feels wrong.
it feels wrong. Exactly. This is like it's just like this I'm more than welcome to play games in my spare time, but it just not doesn't seem right. Like, I play this game. It's like I go to talk to someone. It's like there's no one here to talk to. I'm just here on my own playing this game. It's like, interesting.
Yeah.
It doesn't give it's not got the same feel to it, but yeah, it's definitely a much grander experience when you're playing games on stream, because you can sort of, if it's a mystery game, if it's like you're sort of talking about, oh, I think this person's kind of sus, or kind of he could be the killer, and someone's like, yeah, it could be. I don't like this character, all this sort of stuff. They have like different inputs. Especially
Yeah.
as a lot of people don't really know that game, or if people know the game and they're keeping the spoilers to themselves, or sort of like it's a very very cool experience to do. I definitely love doing it.
I have a list for you. Just some games I want to see if you plan on playing or if you've
Okay,
played them type thing.
okay. I'm down for a list. I like spreadsheets and lists. You can probably tell.
Bakugan Battle Brawlers.
Oh, no, I don't think I own Bakugan Battle Brawlers. I feel like it's a PS2 game though.
The
I feel like
PS2,
uh,
360, Wii, DS.
sometimes you can tell by the names of them. You're like, that was definitely like. There's no way that was greenlit on a on a newer console. Unless it was, it's very just not talked about. I don't have I have a lot of Yu-Gi-Oh PS2 games. I have Duelist of the Roses. Um that's just one. Okay, I only have one Yu-Gi-Oh game on the PS2.
Okay.
Uh, but
On
I think the
DS, do you
closest
have
thing
Nightmare Trapdoor? That was one of the ones I was about.
Nightmare Trapdoor. I don't think I do.
The
I don't
best! Come on!
Well, I'll tell you there was a maybe a 3DS game or a DS game I wanted to play, and nowadays I'm like, why would I want to go near that? Because it's a rhythm game, which was Rhythm Thief. I always like as growing up as a kid, I was like, oh, this game looks super cool. I saw my friend play, I was like, oh, this looks super cool. And I can play this game. I like the idea of this. And then growing up and I play more games that are rhythm and like timing, and I'm like, God, I am awful at these games. Like,
Fair.
there's parts in Danganronpa where you're like having to like hit buttons to the beat, or like there's parts in what else I'm trying to think. Hatsune Miku. It's like that's a rhythm game. There's a straight rhythm game, and I'm just garbage. I can't do it.
I guess
It's
that
so hard.
rules out Theta Riven, the new Theta Riven coming out for Final Fantasy.
I seen this when it was announced, and I was like, this looks interesting. And then then I saw the final. Then I saw that it's like, oh, Final Fantasy. I was like, okay, Final Fantasy, that's cool. I like Final Fantasy, whatever. And then it gets to the rhythm, like, oh no, I can't do that. I would like to, but I can't. I'm not gonna go into that. I'll just embarrass myself, really.
Fair.
Oh,
I
goodness. I think the closest thing to Battleground though would probably be I have, what is it, Duel Masters,
Duel
which is like
Masters is a great Yu-Gi-Oh game.
yeah, I have Duel Masters, which is it looks pretty cool. I've not played it, but it does look really really cool because it's a Yu-Gi-Oh esque game. It's not actually a Yu-Gi-Oh game. It's like you use cards or you fight dinosaurs. I seen a video on it at one point. I was like, this game looks really cool, and I found it in a local game shop. I was like, oh, I saw this talked about. Like, okay, let's play it, and I just haven't played it. That's all.
So you're currently playing through. Well, you finished or are currently playing through. I haven't watched the latest stream on it. Wind Waker.
Wind Waker, yes, I am playing Wind Waker for the first time. It's been a very interesting and rewarding experience.
I know you've been playing through a lot of Nintendo games though
I
recently.
yeah, you can say that. I started playing Wind Waker, and I was like, I played Breath of the Wild around the mid time year this year. I absolutely loved it, and it was sort of like talking outside of like the just the fun and great time that I had with it. It's also like one of those very very popular games that people lap it up. People love Breath of the Wild, and they love seeing someone do their first playthrough of Breath of the Wild. And I was like, oh, you know what? Maybe I'll play Wind Waker at some point. I already owned it.
Yeah,
And a lot of people that came by for those streams, or the new people that were coming by, was like, oh, I would love to watch you play Wind Waker or something. So I started playing Wind Waker, like maybe I took a little break from doing Zelda. Like, obviously, you would play Breath of the Wild, and it's like 100 and something hour game. So I
gotta
was like,
do
I'm gonna.
Twilight Prince.
It's on the Wii. It is on the Wii, and it's a lot more accessible than a lot more games are. But yeah,
Yeah,
it's like, I think I put like something like 97 hours or 104 hours into Breath of the Wild.
it got a remaster on the
Um,
Wii.
but I don't have a Wii. I have a normal Wii though.
Oh, fair.
Yeah, that's why people have been telling me, go back to Wind Waker. People are like, oh, you get a faster sail on the Wii U. It's like, I'd help if I had a Wii U. I don't.
Can play Skyward Sword on the Switch and get the amiibo to get like a cheat to go to the air and dungeons quicker.
Oh, is that true? I
Yeah,
seen they just announced a Sephiroth amiibo, and I'm like, interesting. I don't own any amiibos, but I feel like if I started collecting amiibos, I wouldn't stop.
I collected a lot of the Zelda amiibos, but I sort of got rid of them because I switched over to gaming statues for the series I like. So I have like one of every Link at this point.
Oh no, I have a Majora's Mask. I picked up a
Oh,
Majora's Mask back in April.
I remember seeing your tweet about this. It looked
Yeah,
awesome.
it is. It sits on top of the shelf, but it's like I don't have like the problem with it sitting on top of the shelf is like the top shelf is for like display like items like collector's editions all that sort of stuff.
Yeah.
But because obviously it's a shelf that's like as tall as I am. It's about 6 foot about 6 foot tall, 7 foot tall shelf. When I'm sitting at my desk, you can't see the top shelf at all. So
Yeah.
you can't see the fact that I've got Majora's Mask. I'm like, oh, I have this. And people are like, no, you don't. I have to move the camera. Like, oh, here it is up here. It's like, oh wow, it's so cool. It's like, yeah, there is. You know, eventually, it's like I have to try and find a better way of like displaying everything.
I've been
Yes, yes,
playing
Breath
through
of
a
the Wild.
lot of Nintendo games. And
Have you?
I really wanted to know if you've heard of this one, if you're planning to play through the series, because it's honestly my favorite Nintendo franchise of all time.
I
Have you
feel
heard
like
of Golden Sun?
oh, okay. I thought you were gonna say Kid Icarus. I don't know why. I felt like you're sort of pressed like, oh,
Kid Icarus is also very good.
I watched a friend play Kid Icarus, but I've never actually played it myself. I feel like Golden Sun. I recognize it. Let me quickly give it a quick Google because I'm just want Golden Sun.
It
I
has
feel like
Isaac and Matthew.
no, this game. I don't recognize this game. No, I've never heard of Golden Sun. Then it's got that kind of Chrono Trigger sort of look to it.
Yeah, it's very much like Chrono Trigger. It's Nintendo's original JRPG before they started doing Fire Emblem.
Okay,
And yeah, like
there's a Golden Sun here that's on the GBA. It's like oh, it could be.
the
Yeah,
first one's Golden Sun. Then there was Golden Sun Lost Stage. In 2011, they released Dark Dawn.
okay.
However, the people that made it have currently been catching up to making Nintendo sports games like Mario
Oh,
Brawlers
the
and all
Mario.
that.
Yeah, the Mario football game or something.
So every time
That
a
was
new
for the
sports
PSP as
game
well.
gets announced, my hopes and dreams of the continuation get crushed.
No, why are you working on Mario football? Create me a new Golden Sun.
Indeed.
What really
Ugh.
annoyed me about the sports game, the Nintendo sports games, is the Nintendo Wii Sports was free with consoles,
Yeah,
and then later on in the Switch life cycle, like, oh yeah, here's Switch Sports, but you don't get it for free. It's like 30 quid. It's like, oh,
I
I
have
really
the
enjoy.
boxed version of Wii.
Oh yeah, I got the I think I have like maybe 2 copies of Wii Sports, but it's always in the shitty little paper pamphlet thing that you get it in. You know what I mean? Yeah.
I wish Link's crossbow training had a box version rather than just the
Link's
pamphlet.
cross motion.
Listen, I'm trying to get all the Zelda games, and it doesn't display well with all the nice boxes and just that sliver of paper.
I know how that feels trying to display all the games. Ah, yes, perfect. And then one's like the wrong shape. And you're like, why? Why did they release this on this one little thing? It's like, why?
Or then you
You
get a
know?
platinum or greatest hits mixed in with all your nice spines. Like, oh, these are all
Yeah.
black, and then this one's red. Oh no.
So we didn't have so it's different over in the UK because your greatest hits is red and your but then if it's greatest hits on PlayStation 1 it's like bright green
Yeah,
and it's awful. I hate that green.
disgusting.
It is disgusting. We have it luckily over here. It was either black, the cover was black or it was grey. And that's not terrible. I don't think it's as bad.
Japan
Uh,
had cool platinum hits because it would literally just make the whole cover art platinum and black.
oh, that sounds really nice actually.
Yeah. I'm
I
trying
wish I lived
to
in Japan now.
pick up the Kingdom Hearts platinum hit because it looks so nice with the original
I think
cover art.
I thought you were about to tell me you're trying to pick up the platinum in Kingdom Hearts. Like that is effort and a half. Let me tell you
All I
that.
have left for that is to synthesize a few more things so I can get
I,
the ultimate weapon.
I'm really sorry to tell you this, Andy, but I've never played a Kingdom Hearts game.
That's gotta
I
be one
feel
of your playthroughs, man. I,
I
I
feel
didn't have that on the list because I always thought you played it. I won't lie.
no. There's you were maybe like this sixth person, be like, why not play Kingdom Hearts? Like, because like the problem with Kingdom Hearts is it's the lore. Like I have no problem playing the first game. I'll play Kingdom Hearts 1, no problem at all. Like, I'll give it a go. Whatever. If people want to see me play Kingdom Hearts 1, I'll do it. But then it's like, what do you do? You don't go straight to Kingdom Hearts 2. You play like this game and the next game, then you watch a YouTube video, then you play the next game, then you play
I
2,
have bad news for
then
you.
you play this, then you play the next thing, you do this, and then you play the 3.
I have bad news for you.
That was a fourth one.
You don't even play Kingdom Hearts first.
What?
So first you play Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, which is a mobile game. And then you play Kingdom Hearts Dark Road, which is a mobile game. Then Birth by Sleep.
I think I have purposely because I had the 1.2, 1.5, 2.5 remix, and it comes with
uh,
Kingdom Hearts Final Mix,
it
Kingdom
comes
Hearts 2
with
Final
the
Mix.
cinematics for the mobile game as well.
Yeah, it comes with Kingdom Hearts Recoded. Yeah, which is HD remastered cinematics. Kingdom
Yeah,
Hearts 358/2 days,
my
which is
favorite.
also cinematics. Um, Kingdom Hearts RE Chain of Memories, which is card-based gameplay. Then Kingdom Hearts Birth by Sleep Final Mix. So there's a whole bunch of ones, and then you have 3 as well. Which I picked up those 2 games up. Like I picked up with the 2 copies of Kingdom Hearts 1.5 and 2.5, and then Kingdom Hearts 3 for pretty cheap. It wasn't very expensive. But I also like they've been sitting there for a while now. And I'm like, at some point you're going to get played, but I don't know how I have the willpower for that yet.
I
I'm
will
really playing it.
say, I struggled to understand the story no matter how many times I played it, but I've been working on a video off to the side that remember the entire history of the world, I guess, which it's just a parody to the whole history of the world.
Yeah.
I've basically been working on a video like that for Kingdom Hearts, so I had to
Oh no.
basically imagine Charlie Day from It's Always
Always
Sunny
sunny.
in the Pepe
It's
Sylvia. And
yeah.
it's just me mapping out the timeline, just trying to figure out every little detail. And I
Well, there was
finally understand it, and it hurts me.
there was a streamer. I can't remember who it was, but there was this girl who like she played Kingdom Hearts for like a solid like I want to say 6 months. And she had this whiteboard behind her where she'd write down lore like as things like got unraveled. She's like, okay, it's the whiteboard. Let's continue on. Let's continue on. And they had like at the end of it, she had like the Pepe Sylvia.
In the
You
middle,
know,
it's who is the
it's just
master of
this like
masters?
what is this? You know, who is Dayman?
Oh
You know.
no.
But yeah, that's Kingdom Hearts is one of those ones that it's the one that got away. I think I don't know if I'll. I should. And I like Final Fantasy. I know Sephiroth's in there as like secret bosses or whatever.
Titus is
But
in it.
there's ha 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 ha.
Final Fantasy X is my favorite Final
Yeah,
Fantasy.
I started it. I
Disappoint me,
started it.
Deck. I thought 9
I
was the
got
only one you dropped. Come on.
no. I haven't played 9 actually. I have it installed on my PlayStation though. I dropped. So my very first. Oh, I've told this story before. My very first Final Fantasy game was Final Fantasy 13 3. Because at the time I was 14 and they didn't tell you on the case that it was for 13 3. It was just
13.
it was just 13. 13 later returns. Well, she could have been in the second one, she could have been in the 12th one. She came back in the 13th one. I don't know. I was always like, I remember Final Fantasy being one of those titles that got talked about like all the time.
Hmm?
Everyone was like, oh, you should get, Final Fantasy this, Final Fantasy that. It's like, I'm going to get into this no matter what. I'm going to enjoy it. So I played Final Fantasy 13. I did not like it.
Eh.
13.3 makes no sense. Like, well, that's probably because I didn't play 13.1 or 13.2. And for the longest time, so I owned 13.3 for like a solid 6, 7, maybe 9 years. And then only recently did I pick up Final Fantasy 13.1, 13.
Yeah,
And I was like, oh dude, I can finally start it, but I won't have to.
I'll finally
And then maybe
understand.
another like 2 years passes and I pick up Final Fantasy 13 too. I'm like, yes, I can now do it. I don't want to.
But if I understand, like the first actual game you played through fully was Final Fantasy VII Remake, right? And then you
Seven,
played through
yes,
Final Fantasy VII Original
that's
differences.
that's what I wanted to do. Yeah, so I went through Seven Remake. Um, well, obviously I didn't finish the game because obviously it's not fully out yet or whatever. But it's like I played through the first part. I was like, this game kind of slaps. This is good. I have an affection for Cloud Strife and Sephiroth. Let me play this game again. So I went and played the original game. I went out of my way and I bought the game, which is it's not terribly expensive to pick up the original copy of Final Fantasy VII.
I have the
Um,
original Black Label one
I
sitting
have
on
the
my
Black Label one as well. Yeah, I have it sitting there. It's like the top game I have on PlayStation One. Like, yes, so
4 discs
CP13.
big.
That's it. Oh, I was surprised how big that game is. Like, holy shit, they got 4 discs. I think Aerith dies on the end of disc 2 or the start of disc 2 or something. I think it's the end of disc 2.
Yeah.
She dies, and it's like, wow.
Well,
And
dies with
yeah,
air quotes.
yeah, it dies. You don't know. Final Fantasy VII remake might change it all. Who knows? But yeah, I played through Seven remake, and then I played through Seven, and then I was like, I'll take some break away from Final Fantasy, and I went back and did 10. Or I started like I got to the part where you have to get Titus's. Well, you don't have to get Titus's ultimate weapon, but like you can like do the chocobo race. And I'm like,
Do the
this is not it.
chocobo race, get
This
super
is
fast, do it.
this is not itchy. So I stopped playing the game, and I don't think I've been back to Final Fantasy ever since.
Fair.
But yeah, I would. I've said like a lot of people have been wanting me to play 9 or 8, and I'm like, yeah, I'll do it. And I even bought 9 on PlayStation because it's like you get the HD, the masters as the fast forward, all that sort of stuff. I was like, sure, I'll do
Yeah.
this. It'll be a lot easier. That's why I played 7 actually. I have an original copy of 7, and I have the digital version of it as well, and the remake. So I suppose I have like 4 copies of 7 at some point.
Speaking about
But
Final
yeah,
Fantasy VII, though, Tifa or Aerith or
Aerith.
Sephiroth?
Oh, Sephiroth.
Understandable, understandable.
It was originally if you went Tifa and Aerith, I have an Aerith statue. But then when you mentioned Sephiroth, like, yeah, Sephiroth's got it.
Yeah.
Look at it's just his hair, man.
Look at it,
And his
I
flowing.
mean.
Look at his flowing locks. It's like a Maybelline model.
Yeah.
It's beautiful. There's a part in the I'll forever remember this. There's two parts. One part I was playing the game. I was playing through the 7 remake, and there's a part at the end of the 7 remake, or getting closer, or you're fighting him or whatever. And he goes, "Do you dream of me, Cloud?" And I was like, "Oh, yeah, I do. I dream of you." Oh, uh, and then after we finished playing the original 7, we watched the Advent Children movie in Discord. We all got together. A lot of people they were enjoying those streams. We all decided to hop in a call and into and we watched the movie. And a mutual friend of ours, you know Elliot, otherwise known as Brelfman.
Yes, I still hope
Uh,
he's hasn't gotten the shiny Garatina. I've cursed
I
him
don't,
with
I
bad
don't,
luck.
I don't think he's got it to this day. I
Ah,
don't think he's still got it. But we were watching it, and Elliot was a big fan of it as well. I was like, okay, we'll sit and watch it. So we're sitting there, and at like the end of the movie, Cloud beats Sephiroth sort of thing. But he does this limit break. He does like the
what?
yeah, I know, right? He does like the Omni Strike against Sephiroth, and with the new cool Buster blade he's got, Buster Sword. And the part that will always stick out to me was the part where he does it for the first time, and all it was in the mic was Elliot shouted, "Limit break!" I just started laughing. It was great. But yeah, Final Fantasy Seven might be my favorite game. I don't know. I don't think one of the things I got into it very very late. Like Final Fantasy Seven,
Hey,
it was released before I was even born. I was a year. I was maybe a year after. Sorry, Final Fantasy Seven came out. I was born. So it's like the fact that I still enjoy games that are like older than I am, or like maybe just as old as I am. Like Silent Hill, 19, I think it was 99. The first one came out, so I would have been 2, or just turning 2. But the fact that I then 20 years later go and play it, and I love it to pieces, I can't complain. I still think it's one of the best sources of media out there.
yeah.
If you don't play older games, you're missing out. You don't know what classics they actually were.
I think that's what started to get me into collecting games, where I actually started with the PS5 and I slowly branched out to like all the different consoles. because
It's not a bad idea
I
either.
can do that nowadays. But it's so much fun.
It really is because when you really think about it, like, I went into a gaming convention in Glasgow last last November time, so almost about a year ago, and I picked up an original SNES. Because I was, obviously a big thing for me is I don't really like emulating games. I like to try and, but if I own a game, I'll try and, if I want to play a game on a older console, I'll try and, but normally if I had the console, I'll buy it for the console. Like I spent a long time trying to collect all the Silent Hill games because they're very expensive, and eventually I got my copies. I was like, perfect, they got them for like a decent price. XD Gale Darkness was one that eluded me for a very long time because XD Gale Darkness. I don't know if you ever looked at the prices of XD Gale Darkness. Very very expensive for games.
I
Very very
have
exciting.
the GameCube of it.
Yeah, it was only on GameCube,
Yeah, I
and
have like the special edition game.
oh, do you? Oh, that's
Yeah,
super sick. That's probably worth a mint, to be fair.
yeah.
Uh, I was like, here, I need to get this game. I need to get Pokemon. I've seen people play Pokemon SD artists. I need to get this. Like, no matter what, at some point in my life, I want this game.
Hardest Pokemon game to exist.
I have not played it yet. I own it though. That's what I'm getting to. I spent £100 on this game, but on eBay it's something like it's a ridiculous thing of like £250, £300, £500. Some people are selling only the box for 50. Some people are just selling the disc for 50. Some people are just selling the manual for 50. And it's like this is mental. This is absolutely mental.
I the one game I'm fearing about buying is a Silent Hill one. It's the only one I do not own at this point. It's a black label version of Shattered Memories.
I was gonna say I feel like when you said I'm fearing it, it's definitely the side games like Shattered Memories or
Origins.
Downpour or Origins. Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't own any of the side games. I'd like to because apparently like they're
They're really
bad,
good.
but I want to play them because whenever someone says something's bad and I play it, it's like this isn't bad. This is all right.
Yeah.
I don't know if that's like my taste in games being like trash or if some people just hate in games for the fact of hating games, which is also true.
What's one game series that's eluded you that you've wanted to collect but never gotten around to it, I guess?
Kirby, I like Kirby. I like the idea of playing Kirby. I never played a Kirby for a long time. Zelda, I hadn't played a Zelda until 2021 or 2020 when I played Link to the Past the first time.
Best Kirby you should try, Epic Yarn or Return to Dreamland, both on the Wii.
I was gonna pick up Forgotten Lands, I think it's
Forgotten
called the
Lands
newest,
is the newest one.
the
It's
new
real
one, yeah,
good. It's real good.
with foreskin Kirby, where he turns into like a car.
Yeah.
That's the one, yeah. At some point I would like to put that one up. I really like the look of the new Link's Awakening, like the Link's Awakening that's all chibi and stuff.
Yeah.
That one looks really good. Metroid's completely just
I have a
eluded me.
lot of the
I've never
Metroids
played a Metroid game. Never played a
because
Metroid. Never played a Kirby.
I grew up in more of the GameCube DS era of things, of course. So I have a lot of the Metroids for DS, and I have a lot of the ones for uh, GameCube as well. So luckily, I'm in a good spot for that collection, but there's a few I'm missing that are expensive. But there's one series that eludes me that I really want to get. It's the rest of the Paper Mario's.
Oh, yeah, Thousand Year Door.
I have Thousand Year Door. That's the one I have.
The Origami King is the newest one.
Yeah,
That's only two, right? So multiple. You
there's a
actually taught
whole
me something
bunch.
a minute ago where they talked about how there was Metroid on DS. I had no idea there was Metroid on DS.
There was like Federation Force, some of the Prime games.
The only Metroid I knew was Prime, Metroid Prime,
There's four
which
Prime.
is
Well, there's
which is
three Prime games at the time.
there's
The
three
fourth,
Prime games.
there's been a fourth in development since like before the Switch came out.
I thought Metroid Prime was a one thing where they was first person. That was it.
No,
Multiple
but
Metroid Primes
Metroid
though.
Dread is Metroid 5 though. They just named it Dread.
Metroid Dread's probably really good from what I've heard.
It's so
A lot
good.
of people have said it's really good.
Definitely one of my favorite Switch titles. I'm so excited for Pikmin 4 though. I mean, Pikmin 4. I'm so excited for it.
Pikmin, Pikmin's also a series that's eluded, eluded me.
Fair.
I think I've always liked the idea of playing Pikmin, or like there's so many like games that you like the idea of playing it, but then you never actually end up getting around to playing it, like Xenoblade or the Ace Attorney games or Pikmin
I haven't played
or Kingdom
Xenoblade 3.
Hearts or this or the next thing or whatever. And it's like, am I ever gonna play these games? You know. And the first step of me actually playing a game is actually buying the game, and then I feel guilty for buying the game that's on the shelf. It's sat there for like it's gathering dust. Oh, I guess I'll play it then. So then you go over and play it, and you're like, oh, actually, this is a buyer. Why didn't I get into this sooner? And then eventually, like, yeah, because I don't do that.
Yeah. I have 2 games left on this list, by the way.
Yes. Okay.
So the first one, because it's a bias of mine, I have to ask, get it out of the
Plague
way.
Tale.
Plague Tale Requiem.
Oh, the newest one. I would play the newest one. Yeah,
It
I
comes out on
enjoyed.
the 18th.
It comes. Yeah, we talked about this before we even started this. We're talking about the
Yeah.
new Plague Tale. It comes out the 18th, so the 17th. No, 17th for you, 18th for me.
Yeah.
I played the first one after some random person came out of nowhere and started like, you should play this game. You should play Plague Tale. You should
Sounds
play
like
Plague
a loop.
Tale. Plague Tale's really good. Oh, I love Plague Tale. Oh, I only stream Plague Tale, and it was Handy came. And I probably wouldn't have played it if Handy hadn't like ushered me around to go and play it. But I generally have to say I thank you. 'Cause it's generally a really really good game. I liked Amicia. I liked Hugo. I think there's certain parts where Hugo can be a bit of like, could you not stand there and
Definitely
pick
at
your
the
nose?
beginning, yeah.
Could you not sit there? You not stand there and pick your nose? But no, it's a really good game, and it sort of I actually completely forgot there was a set one coming out until recently, and
Hmm?
I was like, oh, I would play it. I would absolutely play it. So yeah, Plague Tale Requiem. I don't know if I'll get it at release, but I definitely will play it. I
Okay.
will. I will give it a go. So
Alright.
you've got Kingdom Hearts is on there. You've got Plague Tale. You got two entries, 3 entries on there. So you're okay.
And last game, and I know you're gonna play this. It's just a matter of when. God of War Ragnarok.
I never played God of War Ragnarok.
It comes out on the 9th of November. Yeah.
I want it, but I say yeah, of course I don't want it. 'Cause it's the newest one. And I was like, as soon as you said God of War, I was like, I own the 2016 one, and I own God of War 3, and I'm like, I don't think I know what Ragnarok is, but I realized that's the new Thor one, the one with. It looks really good. I liked. I seen the newest trailer where he's fighting Kratos, and a really cool feature I thought was like, normally when Thor pulls back Mjolnir, it's like, it comes back to his hand, but he like
So
he
crazy.
clicks his fingers, and it's like boom back to him. It's like, oh,
I'm so
I really,
excited.
I really enjoyed 2016's God of War. I really enjoyed the fact that it was Christopher Judge, big old Teal'c from Stargate. Boy, what are you doing, boy? It's my feelings.
This
I
game,
watched. I grew up watching Stargate, so it's like my grandparents loved it, so I watched a lot of Stargate, and the fact that he's now Kratos, it's like, oh man, it's like my childhood's like meshing into something.
this game, instead of calling him boy, it's now man. Because
Man,
I,
teen, come
when,
here.
whenever I listen to that trailer, I'm like, it sure sounds different. And then I'm like, oh yeah, there's a time jump.
Yeah, well, it must be a time jump after the fact, because at the end of God of War 2016, if you haven't played it, you see
Spoilers.
Thor, like, spoilers. You see Thor like appearing. It's like, who are you? And it's like, oh, and you see like I think you see the hammer. Like he moves his coat to the sides, and his
Yeah.
hammer's on his belt. I think that's what it is. So I imagine the game will start off right after that moment, and then there'll be a time jump to like later on in time.
Sort of like Avengers Endgame
Yeah, exactly.
style.
It's like 2 years later, sort of thing. Yeah, exactly. Or 5 years later. I don't know why I said 2 years. I've seen Avengers Endgame on opening night. That was a crazy time to be alive. Let me tell you that. Life's not the same as it used to be. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
It's not like that anymore. It's a real shame. I have a question for you,
Oh,
Handy.
okay.
Yeah, I'm going to turn this on its
I,
side.
I'm I'm the I'm usually the one asking questions. What's going
Oh,
on? Okay.
I've got a
Okay.
question. When are you ever going to play something that's not Plague Tale?
Listen, I've played stuff that's not Plague Tale. I've
Oh,
been putting myself out of my comfort zone, you know?
it's true. I recently watched a video. I seen this earlier that I watched you play through your Steam games, which is the Bit Blaster XL video.
to step away from the game collection side of things, you stream on Twitch.
I do stream on Twitch.
What's that like? How's it been? How
Well, I streamed on Twitch for the last maybe three and a half years. It started off sort of. It still is very much a hobby. It started off sort of like I'm a very lonely person. I wouldn't seem it because obviously I'm very much like very interactive, trying to try to talk to as many people as I can in chat or whatever. And it's like it generally did become sort of more of an escape for me from like everything like going on. Like I was at college at the time, like I was working a job I didn't like,
Krispy Kreme?
and like Krispy Kreme pretty much, yeah. And I spent a long time just sort of trying to like escape it all. And so, I started streaming on Twitch and I had a really good time. And then, it sort of it built up to more and more and more. And then suddenly, people were interested. People were not just coming by to what? And like
Possible.
people, impossible, exactly, impossible. There's no way you could summon him. But yeah, there's like so many great things that come out of Twitch. Not just like I think it's like a lot of people do Twitch for all manner of different reasons. Like a lot of people do Twitch and they sort of make it into a business. They make money from it. I never set out on Twitch to make to make money or anything like that. It's nice that they do it's nice that a little bonus that I do get from it,
Yeah.
but it's never really a main sort of like I'm doing this because I want people to buy to support me financially. Um, so it's generally like whenever someone gifts a sub or like we have a hype train or something like that, I always go back to the same sort of thing. It's like I'm just a guy on the internet playing games for fun. Like it sounds kind of like a bit rotund when I say it, but I feel a bit like Saitama, where he's like, "I'm just a hero for fun." But I'm like, I'm just a streamer because I enjoy doing it.
Yeah.
It's also a very very like I found that it's a very very great excuse to play more games. Like the amount of games that I would actually finish before I became a streamer, the amount of games I actually do finish now that I'm a streamer is mental. Like first time I beat Arkham Asylum was on stream.
Only the
Um,
first time was on stream?
yeah, the first time was on stream. Yeah, so
That's
I
crazy.
played through. I played through to the point where there's I think the second Scarecrow encounter, and you end up on top of the bell tower, and you've just fought Harley. And I'm like, okay, cool. And then I just sort of dropped it because I didn't really like the Scarecrow stuff. Because at that age, I was a little bit younger at probably at that point. So I go back to it. I was like one of the first games I streamed. Actually, the very first game I streamed on Twitch was Danganronpa. Danganronpa Trigger Happy Havoc,
Yeah.
which is kind of mental to me to think that it's like last time I played that game, I have it's like 140 hours in that game, but it was the last time I played it was on stream. I was like, that's over like 4 years ago. Like what? I'd love to go back to it at some point. I'd love to go back and play Danganronpa. I don't think I'd really get away with playing a first playthrough of Danganronpa when it was the first time I ever played a game on stream. But then again, you also forget a lot over the years. I
Yeah.
can't tell you like half the time. You know, I play a game. It's like, when does that happen again? Or like, I had this problem of like, I want to replay a game that I played years ago, and when I start playing it, everything starts flooding back. Like, oh, this is when this happens. This is when that happens. I gotta watch out because that'll happen soon. Oh, there's a boss fight coming up. Oh, this happens there, and it's like, I hate that I remember things as soon as I start playing it. It's like, oh, I'm starting to unravel the memories. It's like, oh, that's right, this is happening. So that's also a reason why I enjoyed like trying to jump from new games to new games to new games sort of thing. Like not even new games, but as in like games that are new to me, not as in like new releases. Because a lot of people just play new games on Twitch because that's like how you get noticed and stuff. Like people are, oh, you're playing the newest game, like people want to check it out before they buy it, all that sort of stuff. But I feel like when you go back and play, like I'm not very like I'm not biased when it comes to playing games. The only games I probably won't play is fighting games and rhythm games because I previously have stated I'm generally awful at them.
Fair.
And it's not going to be an enjoyable experience. Oh
Except
yes,
the Demon Slayer in the Kami Chronicles that you played through
yeah. I
that.
I enjoyed the Demon Slayer game. I just watched the anime. I actually still I have Rengoku's Katana, but so I bought that when I was in Glasgow as well. Piece of plastic that cost me more than two a couple days wages. Let me tell you that.
Yeah.
I was like, it's a plastic katana that costs 150 quid. Why do I have this? It makes sense though.
It's a game I
Um,
just finally platinumed through.
Oh, you platinumed Hino Kami? There's a new DLC for it. There's a few
It's new characters, I believe.
new characters. Yeah, I imagine they'll probably add trophies for that.
I'll
I
go back
imagine.
to it and get the 100% at some
That's
point.
what. That's one of the things I hate that when it comes to games. It's like, oh yes, the DLC. Now your platinum's ruined. It's like, but yeah, that's it's definitely it's been a long old journey. It's still going, thankfully. The career is not over yet. Didn't think I when I first started that I'd ever be in a position where I am now. I didn't, back then I didn't even have like as many games as I did, and it sort of just got more and more as I kept playing,
Yeah,
And Twitch is just I've met so many wonderful people. I met my girlfriend over Twitch. Um, I met I've met you.
yeah.
I've met a lot of wonderful people that I spent a lot of time with,
I'll
and
I'll keep
people that I
how I
met
met you
too.
out of this because I don't think it's YouTube safe.
That's true. Oh no, I met a friend on YouTube streaming platform. YouTube
uh,
streaming. YouTube
no,
Live. That's what it's called.
no. I'm thinking back to the first call I met you in type thing.
Oh
Yeah,
no.
yeah,
Is that the first thing we met?
yeah.
Oh
it,
jeez. Oh jeez, I'm so sorry.
it
Oh
was fine.
Christ. That's a story for a different day.
Yeah,
Maybe you have me on again, I'll be able to tell the story. I'll tell it today.
maybe. But speaking about like meeting people on Twitch and stuff, and that's also like my reason for why I do type of stuff. Like because we've worked on projects in the past together.
Yeah, we have to absolutely. We did. I don't know if you want to name them.
We did shit post in the past.
We did the podcast. It's correct. We did a couple other things as well. We did. I'm pretty sure we worked on some stuff that was like used in different streams though as well. Like
Yeah,
we talked about other things. I met even like through you. I met people
gently.
like Gently and Big Will. Oh man, I miss Will. I haven't seen Will in a long time.
I
Dark Knight.
message him all the time because I see him playing League of Legends for like 10 plus hours, and I'm like, "Are you okay?"
How are you feeling? It's like, did you remember to drink some water today? It's like, oh no.
uh,
Oh man, there's three different. We talked about this earlier. There's three different addictions in life. There's heroin, cigarettes, and League of Legends, and you don't want to
yeah.
get into any of them.
Recently, he switched over to Sea of Thieves, though, so I think he's doing a little better.
I think he's in remission. It's okay.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but shitpost is like the thing that made me want to do this because I was like, man, podcast is cool and all that, but I sort of want to have like a centered thing around interviewing people and getting to know them
Well, it's a little bit
type
different as well
thing.
because when you've got a podcast, you're there's sometimes a group of you. There's like two, three. Well, at least when we did it, there was always like four people on at the same time. It's like yourself. Sorry to say yourself, Lolth,
Will
me,
or
and whoever the
gently.
guest was. Lower gently,
Yeah.
and then you had a guest sometimes take one of those spots. So you always had, four people talking in a room. It's never sort of as intimate or
Yeah.
direct as being able to interview someone.
But yeah. So we've been going for quite a while, so I won't keep you for much longer.
No,
So
it's absolutely right. No problem at all.
wait, where can people find you? Because I think it's pretty obvious, but where can people find you?
People can find me at youtube.com/handy capable.
That's not even
Uh,
the correct URL. Haha.
that's at Chris is capable on Twitter.
Oh no.
Um, but no, seriously, people can find me at twitch.tv/SukoNami. I'm on TikTok as SukoNami underscore. I upload some clips and stuff on YouTube, but nothing like streamer put actual videos like this man does. Or my Twitter is at SukoNami, so that's where people can sort of find me.
I saw you going back
Streaming
to
at the moment 5 days a week, a variety of different games.
I saw
But
you
yeah,
going back to uploading full playthroughs. Uh
I'm thinking about maybe doing that, and then I sort of realized that I could definitely edit this down, and then you sort of realize how much work editing is, and you're like, yes,
I have a
no,
feeling
thank
this
you.
is gonna be about like 5 hours of rendering. I ended it.
That's what happens though. You sit there, you're like, okay, this video's perfect. Let me get this out in the next day, and it's like 7 hours surrender. It's like, ah, well, I guess I have to go try and find something to spend my time with, you know?
Luckily, I do things like weeks in advance, so I have
Nah,
stuff
that's true,
scheduled to
yeah.
go up type thing.
That's a smart man's thing. I'd be like, "Oh, I should put a video out. Let me draw one. Let me, get one up. Let me just, record one."
YouTube has this nice feature called schedule where you can select the day and time it comes out. So I just have like 5, 6 videos right now just sitting in the
Up in the bank sort of
archive.
thing, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's a lot different on Twitch where you can't really schedule a stream. It's like, well, I can, but I have to show up for it. Like,
Yeah.
I can't not be there, you know?
You mean I
So I
have to
guess
stream?
I have to be here. There's some mornings where you sort of wake up. I see mornings. I wake up like midday. I'm like, I'm so tired. I'm like, I try to stream in like an hour. It's like, and then you spend like the next like 15 minutes in bed. Like, I guess I should get up.
Yeah.
Yeah, my sleep schedule is awful. That's the problem.
What's sleep? I get like 3 hours of that. I'm going for the
There
day.
was a solid week where I sat down and I was like, I would finish, I would stream, I would eat, I would watch some TV, or I'd like play some games, and then I'd just sit and watch YouTube till like 4 a.m. I was like, I should probably sleep, and then I don't sleep. I'm like, okay, and you're so groggy. And I was like, oh man, but yeah, I tried. It was probably a couple of days ago actually. I stayed up all night and I was like, I'm gonna try and reset my sleep schedule, and I'm still going to bed at like 3 a.m. So it did not work.
Fair.
Working on it though.
How is Miles? I have not heard or seen of him. Where is he?
Let me tell you, your $5 a month is safely securing Miles's future. Much like Francois, a real cat, Miles is a real dog. He's fine. Miles he's been grand. Um, I actually it's funny you mention him because we were talking. I was talking to my grandparents, but I've had him for about 5 years now,
Yeah.
and I got him when I came out of high school, which is mental to me that I've been out of high school for five years. And so, we're starting to talk about how is that dog is sort of thing. We're just sort of it's like, oh, I think he's about 3 or something. But then in my head, he's been 3 for the last like, however long I've known him. I was like, oh, he's been 3, whatever. But yeah, it came up and it's like, yeah, I think he turned 6 this year, actually, or 5 this year. I'm like, damn, this dog's getting old. Like that's holy
I
shit.
mean, that's
I
only
didn't
like
realize.
35 or 42 in dog years.
Yeah, that's not very long. That's not very like old in dog years. It's like he's still got, dogs normally, they live for
Like
15,
12.
20 years,
Yeah.
I'm probably 20 years is probably pushing it, but 12, 15 years is normally around the age.
Yeah.
So I'll probably Miles is be, he's a good old dog. He's a good dog. My little buddy. He makes cameo appearances now and again. He's in my raid video. I like to show off that I've got the dog and everyone loves it. He panders to it.
Yeah.
He lives on in the Twitch emote we have for him, which literally it was painted by a good friend, and it generally looks like him. Like it generally it was from I'd sent her a picture, and then for my birthday or like just a gift, she had painted this picture of him, and I was like, holy shit, this is fantastic, and I made it an emote, so now everyone can keep him alive even if he's not on stream.
Yeah.
That's exactly it. But yeah, he's doing well. He's doing well.
You got any Scottish Twitter?
I do have some Scottish Twitter. It's a brand new redeem. I got a new redeem for Scottish Twitter. I got Scottish Princess and Scottish Twitter now.
That's crazy.
But I can give you some Scottish Twitter
I would love that. I
at
haven't
some
heard
point.
Scottish Twitter in years.
Let me see what I'll give you one. How about that?
One? Oh, I'm being spoiled.
You're you're gonna get I'm gonna stop halfway through and be like, oh, don't end just yet. Bonjour. That is French for what's happening, shaggers. That is exactly how you say it.
That's great.
But it's fucking mental being a baby to fall asleep in the gaff and wake up in Tesco fruit and veg aisle. There you are. There's a couple
Hey,
of Scottish Twitter for you.
thanks for the Scottish Twitter.
You're just keep playing it on repeat, like, oh, this is so good.
Hold up, I'll be right back.
Got to take care of something real quick.
Yeah. Is there anything you'd like to say or ask while you're still here?
Honestly, I mean, I've had it. It's different. I don't think I've ever really been interviewed in this sense before, and it's a very it's I've had a really good time. I think it's being able to sort of talk about what you enjoy, what you do, the history you have with the person you're talking to. it's a very very nice thing to do. And I know that you had approached me previously, and we talked about it. And I was like, yeah, I'd like to do it, sort of thing. And then
Yeah.
the fact that we actually managed to do it, it's like I really enjoyed it. It's nice to have like a little catch up and sort of just talk about what's going on. Or like
Usually
what how
you or I would forget that that thing was about to happen and then
yeah,
it just never happened.
that's true as well. Yeah.
Uh,
It's a case of like, oh yeah, you want to do this? Like, yeah, we can do that. And then like 6 months pass, like, yes, we didn't do that. Yeah, we didn't do that. Yeah.
oh
Do you want
shit,
to
we
do it again?
did
It's like, yeah,
forget
yeah,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, do I try again? It's like, yeah, I'll try again. And 6 months pass. It's like, oh yeah, so you want to do that thing? Oh yeah, that's right. We forgot about that part. Oh, yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
yeah.
Well, is there anything else you would like to say, or
I think generally, I think that's gonna be that's all I've got really. I think that that just, it's been an honor to be able to do this, and I generally just have to say thank you for thinking about me. Um, it's not always I get sort of to do this sort of stuff, and the fact that people such as yourself are interested to hear what I've got to say, or like where I've my journey or where I've come from, all that sort of stuff, and like how it all started. It's really nice. It's really comforting to hear that people are interested to see where it is, the one guy that plays games on the internet is not that good at it comes from.
yeah. I I've always found like your streams interesting because it's like always scheduled and you always have a plan of what game you're gonna do next and you're like, okay.
It's hard. Like it may not seem that it may seem like, oh yeah, we're gonna do this. It's like I can spend like I've got so like today's Saturday for instance. The time checks this Saturday whatever. But I make my schedules on the Sunday, or like maybe I make my schedules like a day before or whatever, or like maybe I've got a pre plans. But it's like you never really know. For instance, if I say like, oh, I'm gonna do this game on this day, if I then beat the game before then, I'm like, what do I play in this one day? Like, I'm trying like it's really, and the thing is, like, you're spoiled for choice in a way, where it's like you have all these games, like what do I want to play? But
Let's
yeah,
play Clicker Hero.
yeah, let's play Clicker Hero exactly. But sometimes you can just throw something on and it's like not too bad, or you can, I try to be a bit more sort of I try to schedule it a bit more, like have a certain day where I do this or have a certain day where I do that. And it makes things a little bit easier because at least one day is, you've pre sort of got an idea of like, this is the day where I do this is the day where I do that. And it's not a bad idea, but like playing variety sort of things chop and change a lot. And it is very, you'd be surprised. You don't know what to play half the time. And then you do it. And then you're like, oh, I'll play this. And then you're like, this is actually all right. And then it lasts for like 6 months. You're like, now what I do? you know?
Yeah. I'm waiting for the Halo marathon, by the way.
The Halo. I actually funny talk about a marathon. I've got an idea for a marathon. It's one that I talked about for a while, and I've been putting it off because I've been waiting for like next March time because a certain game in the series comes out.
Oh, yeah, I know what you're
Uh,
talking about.
so I've got 10 games. I've got the first 8 entries. The first 9 entries, sorry, because it obviously includes
There's
there's
more
like
than 10 games, actually.
yeah, there's more than 10 games, but I've got 10 of the games. I've got zero to 8, and I've got
For
Code
context,
Veronica.
by the way, this is Resident Evil.
Resident Evil, yeah, it's Resident Evil, yeah. So I picked up Resident Evil Zero, and I already had like 1 to 8 already, and I Code Veronica. So okay, I'll do that. I think you're the only. I think actually you're the first person I've told about this, and by the time this probably comes out, I may have already finished it. May still be continuing it, but I'll be playing I'm going to be playing Resident Evil 4 on the chainsaw controller that came with the PS2 version of the game.
Oh, gee. That sounds painful.
Yeah, it does seem a bit painful, isn't it?
Yeah.
But I also not only do I have Resident Evil 2, like the original Resident Evil 2, but I have the 2 remake, so I'll probably end up doing Resident Evil 2 on the chainsaw controller as well as Resident Evil 4 on the chainsaw controller. So it's going to be an interesting time.
Well,
Yeah.
well, on that note, it was nice talking to you.
I was loving it. It was very very lovely talking to you. Thank you again for having me, Handy. Thank you
It,
for
it was
everybody
an honor.
listening. It's always an honor. It's always an honor.
Go check out Deck. He's a funny guy. Ask him about a bottle in a certain call. And yeah, adios.